Hi, I'm Loren and my company is Intentional Acting. And what I'm passionate about is helping actors who feel like their work is getting passed over to become undeniable and book more work. So, the way I want to help you today is talking about the technique of moment to moment. Okay, and one of the things that I like to do in intentional acting and what really drives me is to break down these directions or adjustments that you get from casting or directors or producers or an agent and put it into doable actions because acting is doing. So, what are you doing? That was a big dilemma that I had with acting is that I would get this direction like, Loren, you need to be this, or you need to be more moment to moment, or you need to listen more. And I'd be like, well, how do I do that? Because acting is doing, so how do I do that? So I'm going to tell you how to go moment to moment in a scene. Okay, so a lot of actors like to, I hear it often, even with very good, talented, and trained actors, like, well, this is how the scene's going to go. These are the beats. This is how I'm going to go through the scene. And so the scene is planned out. And the scene is like, now I know how the scene goes. And now I can do the scene. But the piece that's missing out of that is the moment to moment, which is spontaneity, which is that we're living in life. We only go from moment to moment. Let's see, can I get through this entire video without making a mistake and not having to start all over again? That's the moment I'm in right now. Is that going to happen or not? I don't know. So I just have to keep going until I discover the next moment. So far, I'm doing okay. So it's the same thing in acting as if we have a scene, we don't know what's going to happen next. And all we can do is make a decision and see where that goes and deal with that and then figure out the next moment and then figure out what to do with that, how to deal. I love that acting is really about dealing. Think about that. It's watching a character deal with a situation and figure out what to do from moment to moment to moment, okay? So first thing to do when you're like, okay, I gotta go moment to moment in this scene is break down the scene by the beats. I'm gonna give you an example of a scene that I just worked on with a client, and that's exactly what we talked about was moment to moment. And the first moment, I believe, is the first beat, which happens right before the scene starts, which is the moment before. Your character, you're doing something. So this character, she's watching some TV, she's watching a show, and she's having a good time. And then there's a knock on the door. That's the beat. That's where the moment changes or the beat changes. Goes to the door, answers the front door, and then sees a friend. I guess you might call an old friend or a past friend, maybe a friend that she no longer has a relationship with because the last time they hung out together, she broke it off because this person just always took advantage of her. Okay? So she's watching TV, the doorbell rings, and she goes, discovers there's this old friend. And like, I don't know, and how do I deal with this moment? Right? Instead of knowing, she's going to open the door and let her in, which is knowing how the scene goes, stay in this moment. And should I let her in? And then the next thing that happened is that the friend bursts into tears. And now she knows, okay, now I have to deal with this moment. And she's crying. So, I'm not going to let her sit out here. I'm going to bring her inside my house. So that's the next moment. And that's the new beat. And now we're inside the house and we're having coffee and I'm making her some coffee. And then the friend says to her, my father's dying and they're asking me if I should pull the plug on his life support. New beat, new moment. So how do I deal with this? How does the character deal with it? So your character, you're acting, what you're doing, your character's going through this and your character doesn't know what's going to happen. I know you've heard this a million times. Your character doesn't know what's going to happen. And it's the trickiest thing to a really natural performance as an actor is to not know what happens. So stay in that moment, in that beat, where all I'm doing is watching TV. The next moment or the next beat is I'm answering the door and I discover this is an old friend that we had a conflict, an issue, we haven't spoken in a year and a half. And then she bursts into tears. New moment. Oh gosh, what do I do now? And then I invite her in for coffee. Great new moment. Okay. And that's all I'm going to be is in that moment and making coffee. And then she tells me that her father's dying and she doesn't know if she should pull the plug or not. I'm like, oh, okay. So that's like, it's like 5 moments, I think. And each one is make a new decision. So in each beat, it's like allowing yourself to be in that moment and then make the decision versus making a decision about the whole scene from the very beginning and playing that all the way through the scene. So that's moment to moment. Break it down by beats. In each beat, there's a decision when something happens. What am I going to do? Am I going to answer the door or not? Am I going to? And so with each beat, that's how it shifts. Then just stay and play and be in that moment until that beat happens. So hopefully that explains and helps you with moment to moment. If you have any questions or that doesn't quite answer it for you, please feel free to put a comment in and tell me, or you can always reach out. I'm Loren at IntentionalActing.com. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to help you.